for those viewing on the stream. Once again, I'm back with Resonance 22 for another hopefully fantastic game here between two legends of AOC, DauT and BacT for the Escape Gaming Masters.
Yeah, the last game that I had the honor of co-casting with you was absolutely excellent, and this one I think will be just as good, as this is going to be the first time in Escape Gaming Masters that we are going to see the Malian civilization actually played. DauT will be playing as the Malians, facing off against BacT on the bottom side of the map, who will be playing as the Vietnamese. What do you think about these civilization choices?
Well, we just saw the Vietnamese in play last game, and we saw how they could really benefit from having a castle and those rattan archers. That was certainly the strat that was employed on that map, but it's not something that could be easily done on Gold Rush because it's so much more open, and there's certainly not so much safety behind some walls or palisade walls that you saw in Hideout. However, the Vietnamese still do get great archers, even without using their unique unit. Their crossbows, their skirmishers, they have additional HP in every age. That increases by every age. So in the feudal age, their archers and skirmishers will have 3 additional HP. And on a map like this, raiding with crossbows and archers can be very, very powerful. DauT, on the other hand, playing as the Malians, what do you expect? We've not seen the Malians yet this tournament.
So the Malians are a fairly flexible civ, I think, because they have such a strong economy early on, and missing things like Bracer doesn't really come into play until the later stages of the game. So I think we could see a wide variety of possible strategies here from DauT. One of the things that I would like to see in action is that the Vietnamese are very archer-oriented civ, which we just kind of covered. But the Malians have that +1 pierce armor that they get every age on their infantry units, which actually makes them quite resilient against those attacks. So I'm curious to see if there'll be any champions or maybe some sort of early men-at-arms aggression. I think it's possible.
That's actually a huge point and something that I totally forgot about. Of course, the Malians, we've not seen them yet, so the Civ bonuses that they get aren't as fresh in my mind. They probably are in yours because you know these inside out. But if we look at the tech tree real quick, you can see that barracks units +1 pierce armor per age. That is a natural counter to the strength of the Vietnamese archers. And so maybe we have to see the players taking a little bit of a different approach to this one, rather than the standard strategy we would normally see, which is in Age of Empires the Conquerors dominated by crossbows and knights. In this case, it could be dominated by infantry and, well, who knows what else. Oh no, BacT losing a villager under his TC there. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw that right there. Missing out on an opportunity to get a garrison, and that is going to slow him down a little bit in the early game by approximately 30 seconds or so. And we'll see if that ends up giving DauT an opportunity to apply a little bit of extra early game pressure. I do think that we might see some infantry coming into play early on, but we'll have to see. Of course, Gold Rush is a map that is quite aggressive, very difficult to defend unless you have an ungodly nice map generation. The back of your base is quite safe, but the front half is usually very, very wide open.
Yeah.
And when it comes to gold, it seems like it's actually fairly the same distance from both players.
Yeah, of course they don't start with a huge amount of gold here. It's just a small amount to keep them going until they are required to move out into the center of the map. I think BacT is the one with the terrible gold spot, though. His second gold is way out in front of his TC, whilst although DauT has one that's far forward, he also has one towards the back as well. So I mean, looking at what BacT is doing right now, I was just looking at his scouting there for the guys on the stream. He's really spending a lot of time to scout to scout DauT. He's checked out where both of his gold piles are. He's found his berries. He's found his wood. And I feel like BacT wants to play an aggressive game here because he wouldn't spend so long scouting his enemy if he wasn't looking or entertaining the idea of attacking over in that area of the map. He's neglected to even scout a lot of his own map in favor of doing this.
That's a great point, by the way, about the forward gold mine for BacT. We usually see players end up shifting their strategy around based off the way their map is set up. And in this case, well, BacT will have quite a bit of trouble defending if he ends up playing super defensively, because he will not really have that much safe gold, or at least DauT has one in the back. Speaking of playing aggressively, it looks like DauT's up to no good as well. Are we going to see, looks like some militia? Is this going to be one of those awesome Malians feudal age men-at-arms rushes, or is he going to go with just a vanilla rush?
Well, I think you can do more damage with one militia than three on Gold Rush if you decide to pick up all the wolves along the way. Honestly, it's so devastating if he was to bring all these wolves to the wood line of BacT, and it could happen, but he's obviously going to be a little bit more orthodox and make three militia. The question is, will he make more? At the moment, he's not done Loom, and he's taking the time to wall up. So he could get greedy and add an additional militia here. Or he could use this villager to gather 10 gold and do Loom afterwards. It looks like he's going to opt for the 3 militia for now. But he's not doing the kind of fast feudal man-at-arms. I think he's going to get aggressive with these in just a moment. Or at least move them out across the map.
But notice that DauT is no noob, and he will not send his 3 militia through the middle of the map, risking losing them all to a huge army of wolves, unless he's going for some crazy wolf rush strat. But he's actually not moving out. This is interesting. He's playing defensively, perhaps anticipating something from BacT.
Maybe. I mean, he definitely wants to protect himself and make sure he has the time to wall off. But he also hasn't scouted BacT until now. Now he's moving. He actually didn't know exactly where BacT was. I was looking at his scouting there, and his scout just came in, and then as his scout came in, so did the militia. But that means it's delayed, and that means that BacT has got time now to actually build his own militia. They're on the way out, and he should have 3 militia up by the time DauT actually arrives at his base. Not to mention, BacT actually doing a little bit of an extra damage to DauT's scout now, taking the hill advantage and getting a very favorable engagement. So this is going to give him the edge in the militia rush.
Yeah, that's an extra 10 HP on BacT's scout. Now BacT will have to defend himself with a couple of his own villagers, but he's really trying desperately to get the hill here. I think that BacT will be able to defend this, but having 3 villagers here in this fight means this is 3 villagers that are not gathering any resources, so it might end up evening out. And now he's in the feudal age.
Yeah, and DauT now being a little bit lame, killing the deer off with this militia there, trying to do something with them. But there's no way he's going to win this fight in a straight-up engagement now. He's lost his scout cavalry. He's going to have less health as well on these militia. And I think the best DauT can try and do is try and kill the scout from BacT at least. But that's not going to happen. And DauT definitely coming off worse for wear after that engagement. He also, though, does get some benefit from this, and that is that he's seen the archery range that BacT is putting down, so he knows it's archers confirmed.
Yeah, he actually does get some scouting information, and that will be kind of helpful. It looks though that BacT is moving forward, and he's going for his own men-at-arms play, and I think this is a good idea because the more militia that you have survive from your early game drush, the better that men-at-arms upgrade becomes. And right now he's forcing DauT to add an extra layer of palisade walls because those men-at-arms do eat through those quite quickly. And this is quite a bit of wood down the drain.
Well, it's a good idea until you don't actually get into your enemy's economy. I mean, you're right, though. It is a lot of wood down the drain, and this house is incredibly weak. The house is actually the weak link in the wall. This is something that actually will catch a lot of AOC players out, especially DauT and other top players like DauT, because they're so used to houses having so much health that they stand and they actually work as part of walls quite well. Of course, that is not the case in the expansions, and DauT now potentially going to lose that house there, and he's trying to re-wall behind this. But I like this play by BacT. BacT knows that this is a double wall. He knows he wants to be aggressive, and he knows that it's fairly easy for DauT to keep him out. So he's going to build a tower against the wall, and this is almost certainly going to secure his entry into DauT's base.
Decision strikes again with that early game building HP nerf. It does scale up throughout the ages, so we will see these houses shoot up in HP as soon as DauT reaches the feudal age. But right now, they're made of paper mache, and these popsicle stick walls are not going to be good enough either. BacT with an excellent forward watchtower will prevent additional layers of walling from DauT. So now he has to move the line back a bit. Gonna get denied.
That's so nice,
though. But he is in the feudal age.
That's so nice because it covers the berries as well, which just kind of annoys DauT a bit. The house is now, of course, 750 health rather than the 500, I think it was, 550 before. So it's slow and steady progress, but DauT gonna lose this piece of palisade. He's still trying to wall up behind this, but there will be a hole, and BacT will make his way into DauT's base. DauT, though, 2 rangers and a blacksmith. I think he wanted to do this this map as a Drushfast castle, 100% looking for a Drushfast castle, but having to adapt his strategy now and start making archers. He's not going to get the strat he wants, but he should be able to at least defend this. I don't know, though, actually. BacT throwing down another tower now.
Now, the feudal age aggression for the Vietnamese can be quite difficult to deal with because of that 10% bonus HP that they have. These skirmishers and archers taking at least 1 additional hit to be killed. And BacT just playing so aggressively. Another forward watchtower coming down. DauT responding with his own defensive watchtower, which is a good way to deny your opponent from being able to move too close with his watchtowers. Double ranges coming down. DauT in such a precarious situation has to wall again on the left side. This is a difficult situation for him to recover from.
And at the same time, on the right side, there's another tower going up on DauT's wood line. So there's towers coming up all over. DauT really going to be feeling the heat here. And there's no worse feeling than feeling like you're backed into a corner. Yeah, and you've got no escape, and your opponent's just slowly but surely pushing you against the blackness of the edge of the map. It's quite poetic, really, but it's pretty bad news for DauT here if BacT is able to really break through and keep denying resources. But right now, DauT does have a decent score lead, and I'm wondering why that might be.
Backed into a corner by BacT. Oh gosh.
Exactly.
Have you seen, by the way, that sneaky tower on the right side of DauT's base?
Yep.
Denying that wood line is going to be a real pain in the butt for him to deal with. Has to rebuild another lumber camp, so it's 100 wood down the drain. Some idle time on those villagers. BacT sweeping in on the left side. This gold mine being threatened, and this is the only gold income that DauT has. Can he defend this? It's looking quite difficult.
DauT has to mass a group and push this back now. If he loses these villagers on the gold, it could be game over right there. Thankfully, he does have a decent amount of units, and he has got a hill to use to his advantage as well, so he's going to be okay here. But BacT is in, and DauT really not going to be comfortable with counter-attacking in this position, I feel. Normally, when you're in a corner like this and you're feeling this heat, you tend to want to counter-attack, but I think DauT might be a little bit scared of doing that because BacT still has an open and clear entryway into his base.
Now, you were mentioning, by the way, the score discrepancy between the two players as young DauT, the only man who can take this much pressure in the early game and still have a big score lead. What's going on with that? And the answer is that DauT actually has a rather significant military lead. Apparently, he's at 54 population total compared to BacT's 44, and I don't think that's just military. I feel like he actually has a couple extra villagers. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but I do think that BacT is stonewalling DauT into his own base, taking advantage of just how difficult those watchtowers are to remove in the early game, limiting DauT's mobility. Nice.
That is fantastic. That's so funny. I loved seeing these kind of strats. And do you know what? Before I started making YouTube videos, I was inspired by watching Mr. Danish and yourself. And I really distinctly remember Mr. Danish has a video on his channel. And it was exactly this, walling his opponent into, or the game he was watching. One player stonewalled his opponent into his side of the map and basically starved him out. It's a legit strat, and BacT here really taking it to heart and going all in with this walling on this right side. However, DauT, as you said, does have a much larger army, and that certainly is why he has a larger score right now. But the problem is these towers, they're just doing so much chip damage, and DauT's having to spend a lot of time taking them out, taking a lot of damage while he does it as well. Oh, it looks kind of painful.
He's sustaining so much free damage from these watchtowers, but honestly, it's apparently not going to be enough. I've learned to fear towers and castles so much after casting the previous game with you, but it looks like in this case, DauT's army shrinking a lot. He's losing a lot of villagers too, because he needs some sort of melee unit to chip away at the base of those towers. I think the towers are going to go down, and I wonder if DauT's sizable military and eco lead here has to do with that 15% cheaper building cost as well as that free gold mining upgrade, allowing him to assign villagers elsewhere.
Absolutely. This Malians do have a great eco, actually, and I think that's one of the reasons why they've been banned in so many of these games, or in every game so far, because the Malians eco is really, really strong. I would also add as well that DauT has actually gone to take some stone right in the north of the map. And that's probably just so he can get another tower up if he needs to defend. But right now, DauT, I feel like he's turning this one round, if you could say that. He's cleared up all the villagers from BacT, and he's going to be able to take the tower down as well. He's actually in a very good position right now.
Oh yeah, that he is. And that was after sustaining so many losses to those watchtowers. But those watchtowers have a cost to them too. They cost 125 stone, then you have to assign the villagers to that, and he lost a bunch of archers and villagers that were inside that. But DauT had to pull off some of his own, which weren't doing any gathering, and unfortunately, BacT will not get to take a page out of the Mr. Danish book and actually get that full stone wall. Now
No.
DauT back with map control.
Yeah, he certainly won't get the stone wall, but he'll get his own stone wall. Look at this. It's just, yeah, box walling himself in here. BacT's really walling heavily, and that's fair. I mean, he's got to defend the counter-attack now, and he's going to try and scramble to get that wall up before these units come in. DauT has a 20 population lead right now, and I'm really wondering if DauT's actually ahead in villages or if it's just military. But looking at his economy, he's got a lot of farms. He's just finishing up Wheelbarrow. He's going to be linking up to the Castle Age in just a minute. Now, I think DauT will be slower to the castle than BacT. BacT should be up first. He's also got a lot of farms and certainly has the gold needed to click up as well. So it's going to be close from here, I think. I think this is going to be a very close game and maybe a long one. I don't know what it is about when you come to cast with me, but we always seem to get long games and then we always seem to get very good games as well.
That's true. I mean, I count my blessings, and that absolutely med my day the last time we were here, where just all the games were super long and really, really good. So, yeah, I guess the players, they're just able to survive. And with this stone wall here, we have to ask the question, does Decision strike again? Because these stone walls have only half the HP, but I still think that 900 HP will be plenty to deter this aggression from DauT. And as we pull into the later stages of the game, the Vietnamese really start to catch up in power as their archer bonus scales through the ages, their lack of an eco bonus starts to become less significant.
Yeah.
Defensive tower from BacT looks like he's able to hold the line.
Yeah, and you know, I'd really put this down. Oh, well, here we go with the wolves chasing down the archers here. I would really put down DauT's ability to hold. Oh, they're getting maimed, man.
Oh, God.
They're getting maimed. I'll let you guys put the emotes in the chat, but I'm not going to say it. Yeah. I was going to say, DauT, I think his ability to sustain this damage and still come out on top is his eco bonuses. The buildings costing less wood is actually a huge bonus when you think about it. 15% less wood on everything, and arguably wood is the most important resource in the dark, feudal, and early Castle Age. And every one of these buildings costs 15% less. It's going to really rack up in total, and maybe even too much, because he's actually got 1.3k wood in the bank.
Holy moly.
He doesn't need
DauT
that.
not used to the raw power of the Malians, banned every game. He's got so much wood, he doesn't know what to do with it. I really think that bonus is the type of thing that just gets so... Like, not only is wood very valuable early on, so saving just a little bit of it can be quite significant, but also it just pays dividends as the game drags on, because you just keep plopping down more and more buildings. The savings are astronomical. And right now, BacT's going to have to rely on the fact that he hit the Castle Age first, and it's this type of tech advantage that usually lets these players stay in the game. He's not going to be going for battle elephants, of course. They're just a bit too slow. And instead, he's going to go for the safer option of knights, which are going to be very strong with all the skirmishers in that army with minimum range and, like, very low attack.
Yeah, exactly. BacT's now up castle already, and then DauT shortly following him behind. But DauT has full map control, and there's a siege workshop on the hill. We saw this in the game with DauT versus DauT versus Tato. DauT went for a forward siege workshop on the hill, and it paid dividends. It seems like a similar story here, and I'm interested to see what he can do with this aggression now.
By the way, very good to see from BacT that he is getting the Bloodlines upgrade and the Scale Barding armor, making those knights very resilient against those ranged attacks, and DauT does have the Elite Skirmisher upgrade too, so I'm beginning to wonder if this Knight thing is catching him by surprise, and I think the answer is yes. It's very nice to have this type of stone wall where he can hide the double stable. DauT only knows that there's an archer range from BacT. He's only seen archers. We're playing against the Vietnamese. We would expect that. So
Oh,
I
but
think
wait,
this is great.
I
He's
just want to
just
interrupt
baiting
you.
this army.
I just want to interrupt you very quickly because is this a straggler? Is this just going to be a chop and
It is.
a chop, drop, and roll as DauT is going to come in here? He takes out. There's a weak piece of wall behind, so he destroys that and he's in. He doesn't care about the wall. BacT, what is this wall? It's a half job.
Oh god, there's always a hole in the wall when I cast with you too, and yeah, BacT feared this. He tried putting down a small piece of stone wall on the other side of that straggler tree, but he never had a chance to finish it because it's only like 100 HP left.
Love it.
Instead of defending though, BacT's going aggressive. This is an interesting choice. He thinks that the Watchtower and Defensive Siege Workshop will be enough to hold the line. I guess he thinks he doesn't quite have enough military units to take a direct fight. Will he get any sort of damage off here?
Yeah, I mean, DauT, he knows. He's immediately sent that villager to repair the palisade. But let's not kid ourselves. Palisades are not going to keep knights out for very long. I've noticed as well, look at DauT. I mean, not DauT. I mean, BacT on this right side. Just 2 watchtowers just there. Just to deny a bit of gold from DauT if he can. Just being annoying. That's it. BacT is just being annoying right now. But I'm really scared about DauT's army for BacT anyway. He's going to have to bring his knights back to his base, and let's see what he can do here. He's got a potential to do a lot of damage. I think he just wants to make sure he's got enough knights before committing to an engagement.
Once again, we're seeing a watchtower with a bunch of villagers and or archers garrisoned inside it, being a decent deterrent to those mangonels. DauT has to back up, and this is going to come down to some very good mangonel shots, I think, to decide this engagement. But BacT's mangonel is in his own base, so he has to be very careful not to engage without it, or he's going to take a lot of free damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, on the left side, we see DauT actually adding a monastery and making some monks. So DauT in a very strong position, I feel. We also see BacT building a town center in the middle of the map, and this is so risky. Like, this TC could be gone in a matter of minutes if BacT is unable to take out these mangonels. And with this number of skirms, this number of crossbows, these knights aren't going to be sticking around that long. There's no +2 defense for BacT just yet, and there's the monk to get a conversion as well. At least he will get the mangonels for now.
And speaking of mangonels, here comes BacT's mangonels. Can he get a good shot? He's actually going for that monk, and he's not really going for the crossbows, but he does barely land some decent shots. BacT was really trying to take full advantage of the hill there to take less damage and deal more in that engagement. But it really wasn't enough. The way that the hill's actually set up, DauT was just able to back up and kind of neutralize that by swinging to the left. Did get a conversion off there. DauT in a very strong position, and I can't help but feel that this town center is exactly what you said. Pretty greedy.
It's a liability right now for BacT. There's no way he's going to be able to keep this successfully. With DauT building more mangonels, I imagine, and sending them over. Well, at the moment he's actually short of gold. I guess since he's been denied the gold over here. But isn't having the Malian bonus of free gold mining upgrades just so nice right now? He's really going to appreciate that. He doesn't have to invest any resources. He just gets more gold a lot quicker. And so he needs a bit more gold to make mangonels, but for now, I think this TC from BacT is going to be denied. Or not denied, but the mining will be denied. And now where can BacT get gold from?
And that's really the thing that matters here, is that even if the town center stays up, if you can't mine gold from it, it's essentially accomplishing nothing. We're at 66 population for BacT, and then DauT is at 102, with just some definitive map control. And Gold Rush is all about map control. You get starved so fast. And also, unfortunately, BacT just did not have his mangonels engaging at the same time as his knights. So basically, this is do or die for him. He's going to have to get in a good engagement soon, preferably in sync with these mangonels. Otherwise, he's going to run out of gold and fall behind so quickly.
Problem is for BacT, it's like he's behind in military, and he has to somehow catch up now. Now, he's got +2 defense, but with the monks from DauT, he's really got no answer to that. And I feel like the monks are really kind of game-changing here, because it's preventing BacT from really getting the engagement that he would like.
Yeah, like, monks are such a strong counter to knights in the castle. It's just such a great value exchange because knights cost so much. It's like you take a knight away from your opponent, and you get another knight for yourself. It's a big momentum swing in resources. Almost some really good mangonel shots for BacT, but really just not quite. These mangonels not working out, and it looks like this is just a little bit of a sloppy engagement.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think BacT was looking for the mangonel at the back. Meanwhile, he does lose his own mangonel, and BacT here will probably end up losing this fight as DauT will successfully complete a castle on this hill, and that is GG for the TC down there, and also for these knights as well. BacT's going to lose everything. And I don't know how he can come back from this position, to be honest. He might clean up a lot of these military units, but we've seen this situation so many times where one player is so far ahead, DauT doesn't care if he loses his whole army here. Because so is BacT.
Yeah, you got to give credit to BacT for almost coming out even in that fight. But of course, DauT, not born yesterday, with that castle positioned so nicely on that hill, just cleaned up all of BacT's knights. And at that point, didn't really have much of an opportunity to retreat. And BacT is really running low on gold. He has less than 4 tiles remaining, almost no military at all. It's going to take a miracle for him to pull his way back into this game. It looks like the forward lumber camp?
Well, BacT right now, he has actually got gold in the bank, but it's not going to last forever. And like you say, he doesn't really have much gold available from these mines. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to lose the TC. He's going to lose access to the center of the map. DauT with a very powerful castle position there. But BacT has got a castle of his own, and maybe there is a way back into this. The only way I can see going back into this is if BacT is able to either go Imperial very quickly and trap the castle down, which is incredibly hard, or stay castle and make a ram rush and go for the ram rush and just go all in the castle age.
Yeah, he doesn't really quite have the economy to do either of those things, but he does have a lot of gold in the bank. Perhaps one saving grace for him is that rattan archers are looking a little solid here, given the mass ranged army for the Malians.
Yeah.
Malians ranged units are actually very, very solid until the lack of bracer comes into play, and even then you can still make elite skirms. I don't really know what this forward lumber camp is supposed to accomplish, but he's going to use it to chop into DauT's base, and I don't know if DauT's seeing this. Maybe these knights from BacT are going to be the answer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. He's going to make a hole here on this right-hand side by chopping through with 7-8 villagers. That's crazy. It's so funny.
That's my boy.
At the same time, though, BacT is going to be really far behind going to the Imperial Age. DauT is about 20% of the way there now. And let's just watch this tree being chopped as BacT sends his knights over there looking to do some eco-raiding. My question to you is, how many villagers do you think he needs to kill right now in order to actually kind of not equalize, but help to equalize, I guess? Put himself back in the running.
That's an excellent question, and unfortunately, I think the answer is the amount is too damn high. I think he needs to kill like 20 villagers here for it to really work out. And to his credit, I think that he will be able to kill a substantial amount of them. As knights are turning around, though, and just so he can regroup.
Yeah.
He's on a timer. This whole defensive game plan is going to stop working from BacT immediately as soon as DauT hits the Imperial Age and starts getting these trebs out. So the game is over at that point. So BacT has to kill these wolves first and then hopefully kill like 20 villagers because he's on a timer.
The wolves attack. And now BacT could have already gone in. I think he's really wasting time here. He cut through ages ago and he's still not gone in yet. I'm not sure what you were knowing at, though.
Oh, wait, what time I'm at?
Oh, I'm at 41:55. I said I don't know what you were knowing at. You said, oh, no.
Oh,
I wasn't sure.
Okay, we're at like the same time. I was knowing at the amount of time that he has spent just attacking these wolves.
Sure.
Because now, I mean, DauT is so very close to Imp. And, Malian pikemen coming into play as well. Can BacT pull off a miracle? And the answer is no. He's going to get denied with a quick wall house.
DauT was baiting him all along. I mean, come on. DauT could see that. BacT in the chat. F you. Good game, right?
GG.
I think DauT was baiting him there anyway, because DauT knew that was there. He saw them chopping. He knew there was a hole, and he just timed it so that as soon as BacT tried to go in, that's when he dropped the house. Like, he knew what was coming. DauT so far ahead there with the Imperial Age upgrade, as we can see from that castle. Trebuchet coming out. DauT would have just absolutely demolished BacT from here on out. Had pikemen, he had a bunch of crossbowmen, which he can't go any further with, but he would have switched into, well, I guess he's switching already into halbs anyway. He's moving in that direction, so GG.
GG indeed. DauT Master Troll not reacting to that at all, just so that he could deny it immediately with a quick wall house. That was a really good game on both players, but I can't help but feel that DauT had such an excellent game plan going into this, and a pretty decisive victory on his part.
Yeah, for sure. It was a very enjoyable game, actually. I do
Yeah.
think that DauT looked very dominant from the Castle Age onwards, but BacT's early aggression was certainly very nice, and it's a shame, really, he couldn't achieve more with it. I think he needed to make more military units to support his towers, because I think the big problem he had was, okay, the towers were great, but as soon as BacT had enough military, he could just immediately take them down with his villagers, and okay, he did suicide a lot of military units to take the towers down, but it's so worth it at the end of the day. Not to mention the fact that DauT had 2 very nice eco bonuses, whilst BacT had none, and you really can't underestimate the power of just 2 small eco bonuses like that, because it adds up over the course of a game phenomenally. And I think DauT really just benefiting from the eco bonuses too much.
Yeah, and that's one of the main flaws with the Vietnamese' civilization. They can be very feast or famine. In the right situation where their opponent is just shoehorned into making a lot of archery units, and then you can beat them with your superior archers and your rattan archers, they feel very, very strong. But in a situation like this, where you don't really have military advantage at all, they just fall flat compared to civs that do have an eco bonus that's just ticking in the background. And we can see this, I think, reflected in the timeline where BacT had such a sizable early game lead, but DauT just started pumping out those military units, and at a point he had over double what BacT had, and I think that ended up closing out the game. Very, very entertaining one at that.
Good stuff. So we're going to throw it over to Nilpford now with the analysis.
Oh man, it seems like the Malians are damn strong with their eco bonuses. Minus 15% wood cost for all buildings seems to be really helping out here. Let's take a look how DauT got so far ahead in this game. BacT decided to go for a very early rush with M&A and forward towers because DauT went up with only pop 31 here, which is super, super late. And let's take a look how DauT tried to defend. Whoops, that's a mistake by me. I will fix that instantly. And now it should all be fine. So, as we can see, DauT went for 3 layers basically. He had 2 layers of palisade walls and had afterwards a layer of palisades in the north, and on the right hand side he had the archery rangers, the blacksmith, and yeah, that you see basically. And there was a small window where BacT could have actually done damage before DauT was ready. Now DauT now sending in all his archers and skirmishers, and not a single villager died here. I'm super surprised how that happened. It was, yeah, just so unfortunate for BacT here. And yeah, BacT having 4 offensive villagers, 4 on stone the whole time. Ezekiel was so much worse. DauT could go for lots of archers, skirmishers, the blacksmith upgrades, and yeah, now killing all the towers, killing the forward villagers, and was a great move. And now we can see the highlight here, the overchop. Again, you can do that by killing the tree, building a palisade, and now going in. BacT is actually trying to snipe around, but the defense is real here for DauT. And the very interesting adjustment from DauT is he went up with an eco to go fast castle, but then switched into feudal age because he realized, okay, I need to get archers and skirmishers out to really, yeah, stay strong and keep up the defense. And nice adjustment by him there, and nice judgment of the situation. Now let's take a look into the fight. And Mangonel's even helping out against the Knights. And BacT really struggling. He has at the moment 11 military. The Mangonel's not in the greatest fighting position. Only +1 defense for the Knights as well. And now the Mangonel's doing extra damage. Again, Now beautiful positioning for all the archers. And look at this, how many HP all the knights lost in that fight. Even the monk to convert. Yeah, the magnates will go down, but BacT basically loses all his mass of its knights. Now 3 knights, very low HP. The magnates need to do major damage now so that DauT loses his advantage, but it starts keeping up the micro, although they got a nice shot off once. And some weird micro now of DauT as well. The converted monk actually helps out. And now we're looking at pop 56 for BacT compared to the 91 of DauT. DauT is going to take the gold and building a castle, and then it's basically GG because of the failed aggression here of BacT. He had lots of idle villagers at the front, all losing all of them, and so many villagers on stone as well, just really hurting his eco. And beautiful defense by DauT with 3-layer defense, nice defensive tower, and a very clutch hold here at the goal spot. Beautiful defense by DauT, and yeah, rightfully advancing into the winner bracket finals or semi-finals of the whole tournament. I'm super excited to see how the next games will go. And back to your main casters here.